two-wheel drive? We're not even using two-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
We'll never find a used two-wheel drive.
Okay.
We will.
If we do, that's great.
And
That
it's
was
just-
that was just my way of specifying which tracks I won't get confused. Okay.
That's the going right now.
I will clarify that.
Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'll bring it to you guys.
Got a way it'll be in the budget.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Maybe a little. It'll be a pretty short meeting overall. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. You're fine.
Sounds good. It's no problem.
Hello.
Hi.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You ruled there's no public input.
Was I just I don't have anything prepared.
Yeah, I still have like one, I'll wait that I have this. Call the regular meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Roll call?
Hoheisel.
Here.
Lassie.
Here.
White.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Lossing.
Here. You did the pledge of allegiance. Public input, limit 4 minutes per speaker. I see no public input. So we'll go on to line item 5, additions or deletions. I would just like to add, I'd like to give a thank you, so that for the weekend we happened at the arena, we had that in line item G. Any other additions or deletions?
I have one addition I'd like to bring up. City response to Biden's mining ban. Ban.
Under, you call it H then?
New business.
New business, okay. Anything else? Okay, line item A, waive gym rental fee for library.
We have to accept.
Oh, accept it.
Well, you're reading the additions, I'm sorry.
A, waive the gym rental fee for library craft vendor show in June. B, recreation request to purchase used two-wheel drive pickup not to exceed $35,000. Recreation request to purchase new plow not to exceed $7,500. Recreation request to hire casual labor. Recreation request permission to rent teen center. Schedule special meeting for recreation teen center attendant interviews. G, thank you for the Wounded Warrior Weekend volunteers and supporters. 8, and that's it.
Where are they going?
Put them somewhere. So where do we put them at? Unfinished business?
Unfinished business. It's up to you.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Right here. So we just go 1, 2, A, 1, 2, 3, all the way down, huh?
A through F, after one.
After one, okay. So, waive gym rental will be B, unfinished business. So let's just get to this. Request for purchase of two-wheel drive will be C, under new business. Unfinished business, excuse me. Recreation request to purchase new plow will be D, under unfinished business. Request to hire casual laborers, E, under unfinished business. Request permission to rent teen center, F, under unfinished business. And schedule meeting for recreation teen center, G, under unfinished business. And Warrior, thank you. H, under unfinished business.
H, yeah.
Good.
Your Wounded Warrior and City response should be new business.
City will be, response to Biden's mining ban will be I. Excuse me.
That would be new business.
F, new business.
F, new business.
Oh, yeah, definitely new business. So we just got that on the other side of the consent agenda. So do we need it?
I'll make a motion to accept the additions as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Hold on, discussion.
Okay, discussion?
Some of these things on here, yes, we do need to look at tonight, but some of these are not an important thing that needs to be done. Usually when you add additions, they're more of an emergency to you. I mean, we haven't gotten anything on, when we add an addition, it's nice to have some paperwork to look at ahead of time. And we've got some things on here like a plow, what are you looking at? What kind are we looking at? You're looking at a two-wheel drive pickup, what are you looking for? We don't have anything documented for us to take a look at it ahead of time. I read your minutes now because I got the rec board stuff before we got here. But when, in the future, I'd like, if we're gonna put additions on there, you're usually an emergency type thing. The library craft thing that's going on in June, did it really need to come tonight? Could we had a little bit more information on what they're doing? And that's usually in the packet so that we can look at this ahead of time. I like to read my agenda as soon as I get it, look at it, and check on things, not come up here and then be kind of surprised. So.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the responsibility for that one and apologize.
No, that's not the part.
We had our meeting last night, so I thought I'd just put it on the agenda for today.
Yeah. I'm just saying from a standpoint, when we do this, this is usually stuff that is an emergency to be added to the addition. The casual labor that we're talking about hiring, yes, that should be on here because we did that. So there's a couple things on here I got no problem with. But there is some things that I would, some of the other stuff, I wish I had a little more information. That's all I'm getting at.
We'll be aware of that for next time. It was me that added it to the agenda, so that's on.
And it's not just.
Okay, well, there's some stuff on here that we can talk about tonight
Okay.
because it doesn't require money exchanging hands and stuff like that, so we can knock it off of our plates. I don't think that. I understand we're not going to be able to make big decisions on trucks until we can see what we're looking at and stuff like that. So something that's going to require us spending money, we're going to have more information so we can make that decision.
Yeah, I am gonna go ahead and say that this, the money that we're talking about for trucks and plow is already money that was approved to purchase a new truck. So I'm just asking for permission to purchase a used truck instead, because there is nothing new on the state bid sites. So that's what that is.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I'm just making a point that when you have an addition, it's usually, if it's not already on the agenda ahead of time, it's more of an emergency type of thing. That's why we're doing it. Not just put things on there. So it's just something that we need to look at.
The reason that we're having these committee meetings the night before is so that we can take action the next day. So there's not another month of time spent before we can actually take action. Otherwise, it really stagnates some of our progress at some of these meetings. That there's some of these committees that only meet once a month. So it's not perfect. That's why we started to have meetings the night before, so we could expedite some of this stuff instead of waiting a whole month to even have a discussion about it. So
yeah, but the next meeting's in 2 weeks.
Well,
Been put on that, and then we would have had time to.
We would have had some
I
more
agree with
information.
them on like the truck. She should have what she wants to purchase.
Well, yeah.
In this case, she's asking for something different, but I agree with what Glenn's saying. We need to, for these decisions, let's see the plow you want to buy, so we can say, yeah. I know we were privy to
It's-
it in the meeting, but
The
rest
plow-
of the counselors weren't.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we can come back to this 800 times. The plow is the same plow that was presented the last 8 times.
all
Excuse me,
all this was talked about. I've been at meetings before I was on the council here, and this has all been discussed.
I'll just call the question. So go ahead and vote. I just wanted my opinion put out there on this.
Thank you, Glenn.
Why are we that?
So we have a second to accept the additions and deletions.
Joe White did.
Did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to consent agenda. Approve the minutes for the special and regular meetings of January 17th, 2023.
Do it all at one time.
I'll read it off.
Yeah.
Approve the bill and payrolls as audited by the audit committee. Overtime report, summary of funds, transfer of funds, correspondence. F, St. Louis County Department of Public Health and Human Services, Minnesota Statute Section 151.72, sale of THC products. St. Louis County Planning Commission, public hearing. Duluth and St. Louis County at Capital Days. FEMA consultation, coordination officer meeting regarding flood insurance. League of Minnesota Cities Day on the Hill. Boundary and annexation survey.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Move by, any discussion?
Yeah, can we even do that, transfer of funds on a consent agenda? Doesn't that have to be a roll call?
Well, the consent agenda is a roll call.
Yeah, transfers of funds would be, transfers of funds, if they're just routine administrative transfers, that's routine business. That can be on a consent agenda. But remember, any council member can pull it, any item off the consent agenda at your request. But a transfer of funds can be on the consent agenda, and when you approve the consent agenda, it'd be a good idea to take a roll call vote.
So, motion by Jim, second by Glenn. Any other discussion, excuse me? Was there any other discussion besides that? Roll call?
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes.
Mayor and council, nothing to report tonight.
Nothing from Mitch tonight? On to unfinished business. Recreation Department, law responsibilities update on truck transmission.
Okay, so I have an update on the transmission. It was, so in third gear, it slips a little bit. They believe it's a seal going. They think it's okay to continue on driving and plowing with it until it's not working anymore, and at that point we replace the transmission. Or purchase it.
Tony, question for you. Has, and it's probably gonna make a difference with seals going, but is it, in your, however many years, is the transmission ever been flushed on that thing?
No. No, it
When was
hasn't.
the last time the tranny was dumped?
The tranny has never been serviced on that pickup.
What's the dipstick smell like?
Like a 20-year-old plow truck.
That's never been serviced.
It's not too bad. It's a low mileage truck. It's done its fair share of plowing.
And that's what it is, a plow truck, which is extremely hard on transmissions. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. It's not your department's truck. But
It hasn't been my department's truck for many years.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not pointing a finger at you, but I wonder if we could extend the life for another. You know, they're saying to run it until it's done, right?
In my opinion, and in Lundgren's professional opinion, it's going to lose the seal either way.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that it's having has absolutely nothing to do with the maintenance. It's got to do with its age, hardening of rubber.
I want to just read exactly what Lundgren said, so that maybe I'll clarify. EEC tested, scanned for codes, none. Test drove vehicle and could not verify concern, did not feel a hard shift. Did notice shift flare excessive in third gear, cleared adaptive tables and reset, no change. Suspecting seals in transmission are starting to get a little worn, no work performed. So and they said it's fine to drive and plow with for now. And they're not concerned about it, basically. But they want us to be aware that in third gear, it flares, and that is what it took them a while, I'd say 2.5 weeks to get back to me because they were researching it. They believe it's a seal wearing, but because of age.
So, would it be, most of our plowing is done at a pretty slow speed, correct?
Yeah.
It's not street or highway plowing or anything like that, it's parking lots.
Yes.
Would it be beneficial for her, in your opinion, to possibly plow in second gear?
The truck never goes to third gear when you're plowing.
No.
Okay.
So it's,
So
no.
it's only slipping in third gear?
There's no other action to take. The truck is still in good condition. When the transmission fails, if it does, it would behoove us to replace the transmission in that
I
pickup.
agree with that.
But yeah, at this time, there's really no changes to make.
Is it policy with the new department, like on the newer stuff that you have now, since they are plow trucks and stuff, to dump every so often or whatever, you know?
We never reach mileage on ours.
But that's not a highway mileage
to-
thing if you're using it as a plow truck.
to
That's
do
different.
yeah, but we don't reach that extensive use. Honestly, as a pickup plow, it doesn't do a lot either. We do almost everything with the heavy duty equipment because
You
it's
don't use it all that much, is what you're saying.
we do the sidewalk up here and a couple of small details like down at the beach. There's just some detail work that we do with it. It really doesn't have a hard life.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, anything else, Caitlin?
Well, I have more coming up here,
Sure.
right? So I'm just gonna stay here.
Go ahead.
Oh, not for this specific, but I am the next items on the agenda, I believe.
Okay.
I was gonna wait.
So as long as as long as it's got oil in it, we'll keep going. So. Committee reports.
So we have to go through all the add-ons?
Yeah, I think it's additions. Is it
We have to go through
additions
B,
now, I
C, D,
believe?
E, F.
The red additions on your,
Oh, that's because I didn't put them on the right date. All right, B, waive gym rental fee for library craft.
I make a motion that we go with the rec board's recommendation not to charge a rental fee for the library for the craft show.
I second that. Any discussion?
is this a rec commission recommendation, or is it strictly library?
We talked about it last night, Jim, and we recommended that we don't charge them a fee. We haven't in the past. We will talk to them about making sure the gym is cleaned up when they're done, but the rec board itself felt that we shouldn't charge them a fee. So that was the recommendation that we made.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. C, recreation request to purchase used two-wheel drive pickup not to exceed $35,000.
I want to clarify this one too. So when I say, I didn't mean, I was trying to decipher trucks when I said two-wheel drive. It can be a four-wheel drive, it's just used rather than new is what I'm asking for. And it's the half-ton, not the three-quarters ton truck. So the three-quarter is the one we got the tranny checked on. We need the other truck. You guys have already approved and set aside $43,000 to purchase the new truck. We are asking to get used instead.
The difference here is that there is nothing available on state bid. None of the manufacturers are putting trucks out on state bid. Dave would have had an opportunity at one point to try and order one, but he missed the window. So since then, we're not able to get one. Those won't come out till midsummer. The recreation needs another truck for this summer. The old one is undrivable at this point.
How did the, excuse me, Tony, because we talked about this a lot at our rec meetings, how bad that was, and I believe we needed a different truck, don't get me wrong. how was that truck used last year if it didn't have brakes and everything else? I mean,
Mark was the only one that drove it, and
Okay.
he took it upon
just
himself.
leaned her along.
He took it upon himself to do that.
All right, well, that's good that it stayed at him at the controls then, I guess.
Right, and that's the thing. Like you couldn't have a student drive it if they needed to go do work.
It sounded like it was kind of a safety issue, but
So I've looked at several used trucks. They sell fast. It happens fast. And I've shown her examples of things that I've come across. A decent, clean truck, low miles. You can get them from 30 to 35,000, right in that range for something that's 5 years old, typically. It's a bummer because we can get them for that brand new on state bid, but the state bid's not available. So
And will it be available by the time we need the truck?
it won't be available till midsummer, and we need something before that.
well, so we're talking about the truck that we use to haul lawnmowers and the summer help around in, right, Tony?
We haul weed whackers is about all they use it for. Yeah,
They're tools in the summertime.
Yeah, garbage.
Stuff to go to the beach and such.
garbage, things of that nature.
Yeah. So, does an extended cab gonna work for that?
We can do an extended or a crew.
Yeah. I'm all in favor. I would not be on board on spending $30,000 or $40,000 for the vehicle because of what type of service it needs to give the community. I mean, it gets used very little. It goes back and forth to the beach. It's not really even a highway truck. I mean, I'm on board about buying a used truck, and I don't think we should buy junk by no means. But anything with, under 70,000 miles nowadays has a ton of life left in it.
Correct.
Right? They go, especially if they're kept.
Yep.
Change the oil on them and stuff like that. And, I think that's the avenue we should be looking. I mean, you don't want to buy something that's all rusted out, and maybe that's where you're going.
That's exactly what I was looking at, was things right in there. I was hoping to be under 50. Some of them are nice, and they got 75 on them. That's fine. They still come in about 30.
For two-wheel drive.
You can't find a two-wheel drive.
Well, that's why me and Caitlin are having this
So,
discussion. We're in the wrong area to be looking for a two-wheel drive.
Correct.
Northern Minnesota people don't like two-wheel drive pickups, but I think it might be worth our time to look out of our market, even if we had to have something shipped. If we're going to buy a two-wheel drive pickup, you have to get to where everybody doesn't rely on a four-wheel drive to have two-wheel drives available.
Right.
Because people won't buy them. Right?
And that's why I asked her to please adjust the addition, because we're not in the market for used two-wheel drive.
No, we're not.
I would have
It's
to.
almost impossible to find them
Right.
here. But if you go to South Dakota, you know what I mean? You go a little bit farther out in our big circle here of the tri-state area, Iowa, whatever, you can find stuff, and it's not unheard of to have something shipped.
Yeah, but you can't look at it. So you're buying something sight unseen used. Otherwise, you pay somebody to go look at it.
That's right.
So Caitlin, all you're asking here is that we amend the approval that was already there, that you can go look for a used truck. And then you'll present us something,
And to
hopefully
not-
by the
And
21st.
to not exceed
I-
35,000. I'm not saying the truck is going to
Well, I just want to,
cost-
we're having a huge discussion on something we haven't had a motion on. I just want to know, you just want a motion, instead of buying new, to look, to buy a used one that you'll present in a more timely manner to the members to vote on and say, yeah, we'll buy this truck at a later date. So you just want to be able to look at
Well,
it
I
with
think
this
I-
budget in mind.
I think I need the approval ahead of time, because like Tony said, these trucks are going, like he showed me one and 2 days later it was gone. So I need the approval from you guys to purchase used rather than new is what I'm asking for. And
So I make a motion that we allow the recreational department to look for a used four-wheel drive pickup truck not to exceed $35,000.
I'll second that.
And then just, since this isn't going through any sort of a state bid process, when cities purchase things, you have to try to get the best value possible. And normally when you do state bidding, that's done through a statutory competitive bid process. The amounts that you're looking at here wouldn't necessarily be subject to formal competitive bidding procedures, but when they do go out and shop for this, they should try to get at least 2, preferably 3 or 4 different proposals. In other words, go to different dealerships or try to find kind of something where you have 3 or 4 different options, so that when the final purchase is made, you're basically trying to get the best value possible. So that can just be part of the process. Administratively, that can be part of the process.
Yeah, sort of the only hookup there, Mitch, is that they go so fast.
Right.
We need to move quick, and then who is going to do it? Is it going to be Caitlin, or is it going to be Caitlin and Tony, or?
Well, I think
who's going to be delegated?
the motion that's on the table, the motion that's on the table is not to formally approve it at this. I think it's basically to go and try to find. I didn't see your motion didn't seem to say just go out and purchase it. It seemed to be to go and try to find it. I mean, it is a little bit. I mean, a council can do what you want in that regard. I mean, if you want to go ahead and just authorize staff to go ahead and make the purchase, but under the parameters that I've identified. So we just need to clarify that. Are you actually authorizing the expenditure with, basically administration, making sure that the best value is obtained, or are you basically authorizing go shop for 3 or 4 proposals or alternatives and then bring them back to the council for a final approval?
I guess to clarify what I was saying, the way Tony's saying that you have to snap it like now because they go so quick.
I'm trying to not have to bring it back here. We're looking for a base model truck that's not loaded with options. They're fewer and farther between than they were even 5 years ago. And again, the couple that I've found were substantially lower priced than the same truck that has options on it. Well, it sells right away. It's gone. So
here's what I would recommend, just to set some parameters on it. Basically, what I would recommend you do is say a used pickup truck. I mean, you're not requiring 2-wheel drive, right? So just say basically a used pickup truck. And I think the discussion is absolutely right. You're not going to find it. It's very hard to find a 2-wheel drive pickup up here. So basically, a used pickup truck. I think somebody mentioned earlier. One of the main criteria is less than 70,000 miles, right? And in decent shape, and the purchase price, the amount that's being approved is not to exceed $35,000. And then if you have those parameters, and the main one being a pickup truck with less than 70,000 miles on it, then what you can do is they can go and let's find 3 or 4 and see which one is basically the best value. It's going to presumably be the one that's the lowest price and the best value, but try to find 3 or 4, and then we have that in the file that they did essentially find 3 or 4 different concepts and then went with the one that they believed was the lowest cost and the best value. I think that's probably what you can do.
So we could approve, so I could amend my motion to read that they will be authorized to purchase a truck that fits less than 70,000 miles, is a crew cab, and that
or extended
cab, with the due diligence of showing us that you compared at least 3 vehicles minimum up to however many you want, and then you could go ahead and purchase at that time, and then present it to the council members, showing that you did your due diligence and met that.
Yeah, we just have that on record, but I think that's exactly what it is.
So that's my amended motion.
And not to exceed 35.
And not to exceed 35,000.
I'll amend that.
Any other discussion?
I'll help her and pretty much take the lead on this. I'm the closest thing to a fleet manager you guys got, so I'll make sure we do well here.
That red fire truck, that carry-out,
It got sold.
did that get sold?
Yep, we have surplused out all of those because the rec had looked at it, but it's not going to work as a rec vehicle anyway. Because you don't want to put garbage in the back of a Suburban, especially when it's all dog poop.
Never saw those.
We're not stuck on a single brand here either, are we, Tony?
No,
Okay.
no, we're not. We're going to look for the most
That's the-
affordable half-ton truck that we can come across that's going to last us more than a few years.
And even that isn't a stipulation, the half-ton part. You might find a three-quarter ton that's good.
Right, if I do,
Highly unlikely.
the market on those
I
are
get it.
out of hand.
Any other discussion?
I could go to.
Roll call.
That was just an editorial comment there.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Recreation request to purchase new plow not to exceed $7,500.
It's pretty self-explanatory. The same plow we've been talking about, it's interchangeable with the city plows. My plow does still have issues. I've still been able to plow with it, but when I begin plowing, I will drop the plow, push the snow, and then I have to mess with it for about 10 minutes before it'll lift back up or respond to me. So, and that's pretty common.
We put that out for, we have to sell everything on bids?
To sell that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll, collectively, the city will do an auction again
Okay.
coming up. So we'll surplus it in the shed for now.
You have money?
So this is coming out of the equipment fund that the truck was coming out of. So we have $43,000 in the equipment fund for the purchase of the new truck. It was set aside. So this is actually going to be buying us the used truck and the plow rather than just the new truck.
I make a motion that we go ahead and.
Discussion still hold.
Well, we did discussion after
Okay,
the
okay,
motion.
sorry.
Make a motion that we allow the rec department to purchase a new plow not to exceed $7,500.
Second.
Motion by White, second by Lasky. Discussion.
So in the meeting last night, the rec department talked about this because I wasn't necessarily on board with buying a new snowplow either. But it was explained to me the issues with the plow are the age of the plow and the wiring harness with it. You can't just get a new wiring harness for a plow that's that old, which is where a lot of the problems are coming into. So what they're going to purchase with the $7,500 is an 8-foot 2-inch plow because it has to fit between the girders by the arena so they can plow the sidewalks. And also it's going to replace the wiring harness in the vehicle. It's not going to have the fancy lights on it. They're not going all out and getting the fancy, whatever you want to call it, plow. They're just getting a basic plow so you can get the job done with. It's a V plow, and it does not require changing the mounting bracket underneath the vehicle. That's how they're able to get it at $7,500, which actually in today's market right now for that plow is one heck of a good deal. I buy these plows at work, so they did their due diligence in finding
That so that is a state bid price.
Yes.
See that and that's the difference. It's a $10,000 plow for $7,500.
The fund that this comes out of, this is the same fund that if we need a new front steer mower or anything like that, it all comes out of that same fund. It's equipment.
Large
fund, right?
equipment, correct.
Yeah.
And I did speak with Joe and Tony about how the other equipment, what I have and how, what shape it's in. And they said maybe within the next 2 years I would need to replace the mower, which is gonna be about anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000, but it's still, everything's still operational
Okay.
currently.
That's what I was just wondering, that we're not
No,
backing ourselves in the corner.
the rest of the recreation stuff's in pretty good shape. Like I say, I think just for wear and tear purposes, I think you'll be looking at buying a mower in a couple of years.
So, I'm just going to add something from what I hear from our constituents. You know, Tony just a little while ago said that the plow truck that he has, gets used, but it doesn't get used a lot. What people in the community wonder is why we can't pair and share between departments. Why can't she use your pickup plow when you're not using it? Which she doesn't do a ton of plowing. She plows the arena and she plows out the wreck out here. And I mean, when you look at a standpoint of the taxpayers, they're wondering why they need to own through plows unless there's a high demand for those plows. So when we're having this discussion, that's what people, that's what they look at, people of our community. So, you know, I don't know.
So we've been doing that for the last couple of years already, and it's not working, and that's the problem. So Mark was not able to make the rec plow work. Mark could not, he couldn't make it function. So she's way ahead of the game. Dave could get through the plowing. Mark would come get our truck, and then we need the pickup to go clean up the mess that we made with the dump truck, and it's not there. Or I need a pickup just to go pick up a part.
Yeah,
And
because that truck's also your runner for everything else.
Correct.
Isn't it? Yeah, I think.
Well, this is the blue one.
yeah, right. I mean, it's my everything truck. It's my only winter pickup.
I'm just.
So it's, and then like when we have a large snow event that we just had, I have a casual person running that pickup full time,
Okay.
just to try and keep up.
That's how we would answer our people that have questions.
So the other upgrade to this is to purchase this plow that the rec needs, is that when one of them is down, everything's compatible.
Sure. Okay.
And then not everything is broke down.
Right. Any more discussion? Roll call?
Heisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Recreation request to hire casual labor.
Yes, so this was more of a concern before we had the interview. But I still think it would be a positive thing for me to have that ability when and if needed within reason. So if you want to put a limit on that or something, I think there already is for it to be casual, there's a limit. But I think it could be helpful.
I guess I'm not in favor of that. I believe all hiring should eventually go through the council.
Oh, I didn't.
I do believe recommendations should come from you.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to hire them myself, but just before I even put an ad out there, I wanted to know if it was even a possibility, because we have never hired casual labor. I don't mean to make the decision myself. Sorry, I should have clarified that.
This has been a discussion within the rec advisory board over the last couple of years. With the thought if we have someone come down sick or something like that, we really back ourselves into a corner without having backup with trained people, you know. It would be, you almost like trying to have somebody on call is what you're doing, right? I mean, it's in
Yeah,
essence.
or when we have a really busy week or something,
Yep.
we have somebody we can
A
call
function.
for issue, exactly, for extra help. And so I'm just currently just asking for permission to even put an ad out there. And then obviously if we had anyone interested, I would have them apply and you guys would interview and decide whether they could be the casual labor.
So you'd be after like a substitute casual labor? They would not be regular, they'd
No,
be
no, no.
not full-time,
No.
they would be emergency use?
Emergency, yeah, or I don't know what we would define as an emergency, or just a really busy week, or I guess we see how things go with the assistant.
Special
But
function.
Yeah,
then you're
special
looking
functions.
at your budget as far as putting extra people on.
Yes, that's obviously something I would have to be very careful and aware of.
What's the advisory board say?
Anything that's on here was recommended by the advisory board last.
Well, I thought we discussed on the hiring of casual labor was just to put in the event we didn't hire somebody, but I think now that we have, that was my understanding last night, so I'm not in favor of even looking at this point. I would like to see, let's see how it works with the new guy, assuming that we're gonna hire the new guy, and then go from there. If you still need somebody, then come back at that time.
Yeah,
And do that.
I want to interact here for a second. The reason in the past this has came up multiple times is because when we need somebody, it's already too late. That we don't have somebody that has some sort of, they're not going to go right on the payroll or anything. This is kind of a safety valve should someone fall on the ice and hurt their leg and not be available. at least if we put this in motion, she could go out, at least put an ad in and see if there's any interest in people. If there was an interest in somebody, you could, even wage-wise, you could give that person a little bit of training and give somebody else a little bit less hours a week or whatever.
So the concept of this, why this ever even came up in my mind, because I didn't know that this had been brought up prior to me being
It
here,
has.
was the concern of not having an assistant, and then also, what was I gonna say? Just that, yeah, it's gone, sorry. So, not having the assistant, and then, I think maybe to put you guys at ease, you could put a limit on the, there's definitions of what casual is. They can only work, I think it's 67 hours in a year, or
Shift.
shifts in a year. You could put a limit on it. I understand the concern there, and it's definitely something that needs to be kept within reason. And I just wanted to make sure I had help if I needed it before. And remember, we only have one applicant, and hasn't even accepted the job yet. So it's not. I'm just asking for the ability to hire, to put an ad out there, and someone to call on.
I think if I'm not mistaken, we did a similar thing a few years ago on having a few extra people trained to work at the teen center should somebody, you were on the board at that time, Andrea, didn't we kind of go through this?
Mm-hmm.
We had about 2 or 3 names that we could call up in case of a situation that would arise, and they weren't I don't quote city employees, but they were people that would step up. We had them do a background check, so they were willing and ready to go, and we could call them and say, hey, we've got a situation, can you help us out? And that's, I think, what she's looking for. So I want to make a motion, whether it gets support or not, that we just get that in process to kind of have a safety valve, and that we watch. Well, then we just get this in process of approving the request to hire casual labor. Get some ads out. Any support for that? Hearing none.
You get asked 3 times.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
Ask 3 times.
Any support? Any support? Hearing none.
What we've done in the past, and Tony has just come in and did this with us. What we've done in the past is have the individual go and get a list of individuals that they would, if they would like to show interest of being on a casual labor list. And Tony has, for his snowplowing people, you have a list. And we're not hiring them, we're just putting them on a casual at that time. But he brought the people into us, we interviewed these people, and then we have a list there, and then it's their option. And I think that's what you need.
Is that what you would like to see then?
That's what I think what
place
we
on
can
this?
live
Okay.
with is, if you find some people that would be interested in coming, bring that list of people, a couple of them, or whatever, so that
Okay.
there is, to the advisory board, they put it towards us, and then we have the actual list of people. I don't think we're against hiring somebody, and I understand where
Okay,
you're coming from.
just the process
But I
of
think,
how we're
I think
doing
it's
it.
just
Okay.
the process. So if you were to do that, just go ahead, you don't need our approval for that, because you're not bringing it to us right now.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's, and like I say, I look at Tony because we do this all the time,
Okay.
Because we never did this before.
Yes.
And then when we had an issue with the previous street supervisor,
Yeah.
the street department runs okay on 2. It doesn't run okay on 1 in the dead of winter when it snows every other day.
Right. So with a list, and, then you have several people.
Okay.
But I think that's the way you want to do that.
Yeah, that's what I
Go
was,
ahead.
okay,
Get a couple people, run it through the board,
makes sense, all right,
have them bring it to us.
Same
And,
thing, different.
yeah, it's just
okay,
clean it up, that's all. I don't think
Sounds
we
good.
need a motion, I think it's just a,
okay.
Yeah.
F, recreation request permission to rent teen center.
can we back up one on the casual labor?
Sure.
All Are we at this time able to hire our individual that we boarded earlier underneath this?
I think that's
It's under
under,
new business.
Do we have a different spot for it?
it's under new business.
Yeah, it's A and me.
Okay. Yep. I see it now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Moving on to F, request permission to rent teen center.
Yeah, I just want to make the teen center available for the community to rent. I had one member from the community ask that we do that. A teen too, so, we talked about it at the meeting last night and it was recommended that we bring it to you guys. to decide.
Can you share with them, though, there's some incurred costs that have to be up front?
Specifics, yeah,
so that,
specifics, so-
since we don't have the benefit of being able to read it, I don't think.
So it would be, what we came up with is 2-hour minimum rental at $50 an hour, so that's $100. $250 damage deposit, a $50 cleaning fee that would be waivable, refundable if not needed. The money that is incurred would go to return to the recreation operating fund. I will have to make an inventory list and items with itemized values so that when damage does occur, we don't take the whole $250. Like if they broke a controller, we take the value of that controller out of the damage deposit. And that's it. That's what I got for that.
I make a motion that we go ahead and allow Caitlin to rent the teen center out, following the guidelines on the back page of the minutes here of the 2-hour minimum and the deposit damage of $250 and a cleaning fee of $50.
Do I hear support for that?
I'll second.
Or by Jim Last? All in favor? Discussion?
Would you open up and close it then? Or
I would work
somebody
it
that
out
was
between the-
working at
yep.
the rec department?
The rec
Nobody
staff.
would have to be in there and supervising?
I don't think we would have to do that.
And is there
no.
a certain age limit? Not that.
Yeah,
a
you
bunch
would
of
have,
kids
yeah,
in
I'll
there.
have to make up a policy and definitely anyone renting will have to be 18 plus, yeah. Yeah,
Policy will go through the advisory committee and with approval and then brought up
sure,
to
yeah.
us and
Okay.
have our attorney look at it.
Yep.
Switch.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Has to do with funds, so.
Should have never been a roll call, Kathy.
Probably the money.
Was it your?
Should we redo it then?
Sure.
Roll call?
Oheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Schedule special meeting for recreation teen center attendant interviews.
Yeah, so we have 2 applicants and I don't want to lose them by waiting the 2 weeks, so if you guys would have a special meeting to do those interviews and make a decision to hire, that would be wonderful.
When would they be available? Do you have any clue?
We could call and.
Next week?
Probably, I would think so, yeah, we'll call and ask, schedule an interview.
I'd ask that, give a staff on that, have them call the individuals and find out what time. You know,
Okay.
Is it morning, or day work, is there something we can do?
Okay,
And then they can get a hold of us and go from there.
okay,
All we need is at least 3 of us. We don't need a full council if we don't, if it doesn't work out, but we need 3 of us, so 3 of us can get together at least. And set that.
We don't need a motion on that.
No, I don't. I think if the staff can
I
do
think
that.
that was it for me.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Yep.
That was GH, Warrior, thank you. I just wanted to mention, give a shout out to all the volunteers, the color guard, the other people from the community that stepped up.
Mark Hughesby and Adam Clement helped a
Mark
lot.
Hughesby, Alan Clement, Julie Hughesby, and I'm sure there's some names that I'm missing that stepped up and supported our a wonderful event that we have at the arena. It really was good for Babbitt. We had the Wounded Warriors hockey team come and play 2 games. The Ely High School team played a game, and there's a lot of people there. It was a great thing to see. So kudos to everybody in the community that stepped up and supported, came out, including law enforcement, giving them a nice escort around town, bringing them in with a bang, and EMS was there to support us. So just want to let the acknowledgement that was really a very nice thing. So let's see.
I gotta go to fire hall.
Number 6, consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the special.
Committee report.
I have my notes on the wrong page again. Number 9, committee reports.
There are none.
There are none.
There are none.
No committee reports. Number 10, new business, assistant recreation coordinator position.
I'll make a motion to accept David Gould, ask him if he wants to work for the assistant rec coordinator position. Offer it to him.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Seems to have his ducks in a row, so, yeah, I think he can do the job.
All in favor? Roll call, Tyler. Call.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Item B, League of Minnesota Cities Loss Control Workshop.
I'll move we allow city staff, street departments that are employees to attend the closest one, I believe, in Virginia.
Including council.
Including council.
I'll second that.
Moved by Lassie, second by Anderson. Employees to attend the workshop. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's an
$20.
expense.
$20. Roll call.
Hoheisel.
All right, yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Approve non-attest, non-audit services with Walker, Rule, and Harney.
Make a motion, we go ahead and approve that.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, is that a roll call
Yeah.
thing? Roll call?
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes, and that is roll call because it's a contract, there's money. Adopt resolution number 2023-2 accepting a federal highway administration grant for skid steer / brushing equipment.
I'll go ahead and make that a motion to adopt that resolution 2023-02, and I'll speak on it afterwards.
I will second that.
What this is in the second page of this is a federal recreation trail program. I haven't printed that for you so that we have a rough idea. And that's what it's explaining. What the Snow Machine Club, ATV, Snow Machine, and ski trails are doing, what we are asking for. There's a grant out there that is a 75-25% grant. So this probably would be up to 25. What we're looking at is putting the paperwork in for a $100,000 grant. That would be for a new skidster, and that would be able to run the brusher that would need to be able to clear off the sides. The skidster we have right now is not big enough to handle the brusher. So that's why we're looking at this. With this, we're doing the grant paperwork and everything. The city is the co-sponsor of this group, so that's why it has to come here. With this resolution, we go with the packet that we have. The time constraint, unfortunately, is the end of the month, so that's why I brought it to this one, so we can get all our paperwork in line. So that's why this is brought before you as the council. And this is the same, pretty much the same language that we used when the city bought the groomer that we bought through this grant program, same exact, which was, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. So this is pretty much word for word. We just changed a few things.
Yeah, formality.
Yep.
Yep, very good. That's awesome. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Hoheisel.
Yes.
Lassie.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lossing.
Yes. Rams board alternate.
I'm on the Rams board, and Andrea was a secondary on the Rams board in case I couldn't make it. And unfortunately, no, she can't be on it because she's not part of the city, unfortunately. And I didn't even think about it until I went to a meeting the other night, and they were asking who's our alternate for this. So we need to supply an alternate.
That usually meets in Virginia, right, Glenn?
Yep, it's actually.
I see the 22nd, there's a meeting coming up.
It's in Mountain Iron.
Is it at that, right where the sheriff's?
No, it's actually down by the school. It's Northeast Co-op.
Okay.
It's over by the school.
I got the address written down. I plan on maybe being over there for that. Just attending. I could be an alternate for that.
Stepping up.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm okay with that.
You normally do attend those, Glenn, right?
Well, I'll be missing the March meeting is about it.
Okay.
It's the only meeting I'm missing, but the rest of them should be.
I'll move we appoint Mayor Lossing as our alternate.
Second.
Discussion?
Just need to have staff send that down too.
All in favor?
Aye.
F, response to Biden's mining ban.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we direct city staff to prepare either a resolution or a letter to be sent to the president or senators, representative, expressing our disapproval with his ban, 20-year ban on the mining, and that it be ready for action at our next meeting.
I'll second that.
I can, Rams just put out a letter with the full board of Rams signing it. And what I can do is give that to the staff, and
Yeah.
they can mirror off of that one.
Yeah, I noticed that's online, and,
Yep.
and the city of Ely is dealing with that tonight
Yep.
as well, so we can contact them, but I think we should let this, whatever,
Yes.
know our displeasure.
Yes.
I have to temper my response because, yeah.
And it shows more weight when you have the full council sign it.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
I don't know if you want to wait till the next meeting, or if we go ahead and just direct staff to do that, and we can each come in and sign it, so we can get that out, because I think we should get it out as soon as possible.
All right, I'll amend that to have them prepared as soon as possible. Contact us for signatures when it's ready.
Get it out.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next city council. Next city council meeting will be held on February 21st at 5 p.m.
Make motion to adjourn.
Motion by Hoheisel,
Second.
second by Lassie.
No, there was,
Skitch, that's
Smith, yeah, depends on who you ask.
Smith, second by White. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.